Hello, hello, hello. Happy evening. Obviously we blew the $2,300 small count. It's okay. Good run. One mistake cost everything. Repeated that mistake yesterday, but definitely, um, you know, I recognize that, and better late than never. And I came back today. Well, I should say yesterday, last night, I deposited $464, and we ran it up. And not that I just make back positive capital gains on that account. I hit it well over $1,000, $1,094 to be exact. So, I basically 2.5 x'd it, not just double, but I basically 2.5 multiplied it, right? So I doubled it, and by miles. So that's great. That's great. First trading day and I doubled that account. That's really amazing. Hardly ever. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time with my small account, but it just always seems like I go aggressive because at the end of the day, it's like two, three, four, $500. It's like, what are they, right? I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but if you can't start a live cash account with at least 500 to $900, then you're just not meant to be a trader, or you're not ready to be a trader, because that's the name of the game, guys. You need big cash to just make small cash, you know what I mean? So that's what makes this morning's trade so honestly significant. It makes it so valuable. It makes me realize, like, I still got this in me. Can't really let Monday, can't let Tuesday, especially now that account is gone. I There's just so many things that I need to figure out, and every trader gets lost. And when you get lost, you can tumble down just like I did, and that's not me wanting to bash anybody up, but and blame it upon nobody, just upon myself. So with that being said, I already doubled. I already got that count well over $1,000, $1,094, or $1,094, and I'm like, you know what? That's not a small count at this point. Once you hit $1,000, that's basically when you should be making anything north of like $200 a day, and that at that point, that's life changing money. That's like pay for your rent. That's like paying the groceries and gas, money, right? So that's not small at that point. So it kind of defeats the purpose of building a small account when nobody can relate to it to begin with. So I just threw some critics and some people saying, you footboarded every trade. Well, yeah, because first of all, I think the trade was valid. Secondly, I kept adjusting my stop loss, or manually close a trade the moment I saw a little retracement if it was not doing something I wanted, right? Thirdly, I have the cash. I don't. If you have the cash, then do it, prove it, show it. But you don't, and you're not even that good of a trader. So it's like, who's in my ears trying to piss me off? That's kind of the nasty game I had to play this morning, and I just hate saying that because I don't like being a hater. But I'm a huge person of interest, who loves participating in basically like karma, right? If you give me a piss poor energy, you don't expect nothing less than that back in return. So, but still, I want to trade a small account. I want to do it efficiently. I'm not upset with the fact that I overtraded, but it's almost always like, you take more than two, three trades, you're at the verge of continuing that. So, if it always takes one day to stop, it takes a habit to officially have it glued and stick on your mental, and then after that, you can build healthy hobbies and habits off of that one rule. You know what I mean? So, risk management has not been the best. I can admit to that. Charting, honestly, I got lost. There's just no other way to put it. So, um, if I here, I was let me just show this just so you guys can see it. This was today. I was just sitting at Panera Bread back in my parents' hometown, and I was doing my charting. And I was just by myself. You don't see nobody else. You don't see another plate. I don't go. That's like when I have to lock in. I like Panera Bread because they have decent Wi-Fi, and you don't have to buy anything when you go there, right? So I mean, even if you do, don't get sugar, because then sugar kind of makes the brain go a little, haywire. So that's why I didn't want to eat anything. I just wanted to just, and plus Panera Bread is almost always like empty now. It's practically dead. It's a great place to work and to figure your stuff out. So that's what I did. I spent today before I deposit this. I was just working. I was just looking and I was just reviewing some things and I'm like, you know what? I easily recognize where I fucked up. Um, you should if you're gonna be back testing, and in order for you to be making full use of your time, always ask yourself, what's something new that I recognize? What's something new that I understand now that I didn't basically 10, 15, 20 minutes ago or maybe an hour ago, right? So if you can't end a back test session, it doesn't matter how long that back testing session is, but if you can never look a few minutes afterwards or until once you're done and be like, oh, this is what I realized that I did wrong, you didn't even try at that point. And that's just 99% of people with their back testing sessions. And a lot of people are saying forward testing is more important. Yes, it's like science. It's like a, I don't know how you say it, what, hypothesis, and then you test it. So you form a claim, you form an idea, that whole point, and then there's speculation, you think about it, there's rumors, you gossip a little bit about it, and then you actually come to test it with forward testing. So you see how everything falls in piece, right? It falls literally in line, and if we're talking about the order of sequences. So I'm gonna start again. I just deposited $300 in a brand new fresh account, has no history on this account. 300 sharp, and then after tax, commissions, it was like $12 fee. So 288.95. I think honestly, you know what, that amount feels like it's shining on me. I don't really know if I'm gonna take one lot or two lots tomorrow. If I take two lots, I'm gonna have straight up like 60 points, or $60 of drawdown, which basically boils down to 30 points with two lots. And if I'm being honest, I was thinking about it as I was back testing today, and I wanted the tightest stop loss ever. So if we just come over here, if I just look at this, that's already 30 points right there. 30 points from my resistance to my stop loss, and even then I would have got wicked right here, and most likely my entry wouldn't have been over there. My entry most likely could have been here. So from my entry to my stop loss would be at that point like 52, 60 points. That's not at all, and this is the biggest problem that I've been having. I've been chasing trades and trying to still hold true to whatever I see, and I'm like, no, 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 no. So it's like I'm forcing trades, first of all. Secondly, I'm like, at that point, I need to, I'm a biggest hater of chasing trades, and it sucks even more when I do it, because it's like, how are you gonna say some, how are you gonna preach some and then do it the next moment yourself? You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a lot of people like that. The one who gives the best advice most often needs to hear it themselves. Very much that type of situation for me. But and then just take a look. If we just take a look, right? So there's a reason why I held over there. I mean, in all honesty, I probably should have put on those wicks. Those wicks, sure. But either way, even if it would have held my zone properly, and that would have been 40, 50, 60 points in drawdown, I don't even think 30 points of drawdown is appropriate by no fucking means. That's just something I need to like slap myself. That's something like I need to like get a stamp and just stamp my damn brain. No more than like 20, 25 points of a stop loss, because to be honest, it's like, I'm already going to have a negative RR the moment it's, if any of my losers exceed 20, 25 points, there's a good chance overall, in order to manage my consistency and the way I trade, I'm most likely going to have an RR, a negative RR. So you know, just a number of things. It's also a lot of pressure to show up on the first day, the first few days, or to any day, and sizing up is not something that people understand. And if you don't, I'm sorry, but if you trade fundeds or trade evals, you don't exactly feel the weight of upsizing or even downsizing, because at the end of the day you're not trading cash, you're like going to a casino with those little paper accounts that you guys have, right? There's nobody can convince me, and any legit trader, you can never convince them that it's real until you actually got a payout. And even then, from those current accounts that you have right now, not the 5, 10 funders that you had like 5 years ago when your mom started or when your grandma started. No, 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 no. You talk about it right now. So I mean, a lot of people don't understand this, but we're in a whole new generation, and that whole new generation is shined upon, introduced by prop firms. So it makes sense. My biggest haters are those who are prop firm babies. But to go like from my I don't have my journal, but if I look at my journal, and if you could look at any other video where I have my journal, I promise, which I'll still be using that same journal, by the way, for this account. Um, I'm just dividing like a second part of the journal dedicated to this new account flip. At how much it was. It's currently at what, 288, 289. I was gonna say day one and all that again. That part, think about it, is a little bit taunting, a little draining as well. But upsizing and downsizing feels great, but to take, five lots from one lot or two lot, you see a change, it's your mental adapts very slowly to something. And I think that's kind of why I was doing so well when I was taking the account so slow, because my brain was actually able to comprehend things. And it's not about who's the fastest learner, who's the slowest learner, or how bad or how steep or how big is your learning curve. It's about understanding that you have to adapt to something. And I think that's just my biggest mistake in all of this, is that I was taking lot sizes, from sometimes from 5 lots to 11 lots to 14 lots, then back to, perhaps 3 lots, and then back to 12 lots. I was jumping. I was playing like monkey in the middle with those lot sizes. There's no denying that. And I'm just realizing that right now as we speak. So, that's this whole point of this type of video, because I want to just put all my mistakes out there. It's not really about you guys looking at it. It's more about me just venting, me about just ranting, and then saying, okay, that's what worked for me. That's what I think was the problem. And I always listen to all my videos weeks or months ahead, or sometimes even a year ahead. It's like I look back and I'm like, I miss who I used to be, or perhaps that's what changed things. So I got everything out. I got everything out. It's just a lot to take in, to change it literally in a few hours, to reflect on it overnight and come back tomorrow morning. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot, even if it's gonna be in the same month or same week, let alone just how many hours you have. So really, what's gonna have to change tomorrow? And shout out to Discord, because what really keeps me up and going is that I have such a very supportive community. So just really, really supportive community. If I scroll up, it was look at all these messages, right? So just really, I made the video. I was like, you know what, I disappoint a lot of people. I know that. I mean, I feel that. I'm sorry, right? But there's nothing else I can do, right, than just say it straight up and just kind of just get that out of the way. But so many people are like, you're a great trader. A great setback means bigger comeback, or etc. So if you whoever watches this video, and you hear this, drop a comment, because I want to give you a little recognition. I want to personally say thank you for sticking to the end of this video, because I don't expect these personal videos. They're very personal, though I leave it on public view. I'm sure not everybody wants to hear absolutely every single second of these 15, 20 minute or maybe 30-minute rants. So, but I know some people like me. I like to get Panda Express or grab some food, lunch, dinner, or sometimes after gym, post workout, I like to grab food. And I just love to listen to podcasts or just watch other traders in their journey, win or lose. I like to. there's just a lot to learn one way or the other, and sometimes you don't really understand how you want to be as a trader, what type of trader you want to be, or what type of person you want to be, what type of sport you want to be, until you kind of see it from somebody else. So with that all said, tomorrow is Thursday. It feels just like my run for that small account, that the $2,300 one where I funded Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, started with $212, and basically around 11-day win streak. So that's I'm already putting myself in some good lighting, good mood. Um, I don't feel the pressure. So uh, we'll just see on the setups. I think this has been a really tough week in terms of setups. Just to show you guys, this is not at all how I view the market. It's just this is a choppy ass setup. I mean, I was more inclined to thinking that we can hold support over here on the blue line. Come Yesterday's setup was not bad, but I failed to see it. Actually, I did see it, but I was stubborn. There's times where I see things and I notice things, but I was just too sloppy. So we came up, came down. It's like the typical neck, head, and neck little pattern, right? So here's the neck, here's the head, here's the neck. Or I should say what? It's the shoulder, neck, shoulder. Yeah, that's what it is. Shoulder, neck, shoulder pattern. And then she dumps. Instead, what I want to do, I wanted to basically see it hold support over here to push up. And every time I was like buy, buy, buy. Next thing you know, I just kept getting stopped out, and literally my entry was so damn shitty. So yeah, 2-3 trades. I have to stick on that, dude. That's what's burning. That's what burns your account. So look, that's now I officially got it over. Now this video feels like a little accomplishment here. So peace, love, and cheers. Best of luck for the remainder of the week. I know we got some massive news tomorrow with core PC, I believe. And then Friday we have the Federal Reserve talking. These are going to be some big things for sure. But at the same time, it also means that, if you even take one lot, I feel like you should easily be able to make 40, 50, $60. And honestly, I think just again, me talking about it, it got my gears working. I feel like it's definitely something that I'm more inclined to take. Just one lot to risk nothing more than say $10 to $15. Probably want to risk $10. I think tomorrow I have a good chance of hitting a 3-to-1 RR. To be honest, a $10 loss to $30-$40 win. But we can see whatever happens, right? So peace, love, and cheers. It just sucks to think I'm gonna be going down to one lot again, but in order to beat an obstacle, you kind of have to do the worst. So peace, love, and cheers. Thank you.